December 2nd, 2023. If it's 7 o'clock on Saturday morning, it's time for This Week in Waukesha. I'm your host, the unsinkable Don Browne, coming to you live and local from the office of former Alderman Don Paul Browne, also known as the Wauk Radio Studios here in the old NAMI building at 217 Wisconsin Avenue, right around the corner from Theodore Yauman's Park, where we are proud to honor our suffragette heritage in the Shaw. And I am joined by producer Greg Bach, filling in for Anya, who's a little under the weather this morning. We wish her well. And Greg, glad to have you here. Greg is a Waukesha native and resident, so really glad to have his knowledge and experience here on the board. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Don?
Very well. Really glad. It's an honor to be working with you. I know you don't think that way, but I certainly do. And
all right. Thanks, man. Happy Saturday.
You'll hear Greg throughout the civic media stratosphere, the support he provides for As Goes Wisconsin and for Up North News with Pat Kreitlow. And again, it's great to have him here. And I want to say right away, don't forget today is the cookie walk at Waukesha South cafeteria for the Black Shirt Marching Band. And I say this now because it starts soon. I think it starts around 9, but you should get there ASAP, as they have sold out early in years past. Santa will be there as well, so be sure to bring them along to get there. Come early, come often, as they say. And then, speaking of South, our first guest this morning is Lee Montez, a lifelong resident, just like Greg, of our University City and a graduate of Waukesha South High School, who has served his alma mater for, is it over 25 years as an assistant basketball coach?
It's been 20 years.
20 years, okay. And was recently named head coach after the resignation of Bo Richter just a few months back. And welcome, Coach Montez. He is also joined by two of his senior captains, Bryten Staab and Evan Staudt. Third senior captain, Charlie Morose, was unable to attend, but he is expected at practice at 8, right?
I believe so.
Sounds great. We are grateful that all three of you could be here after suffering a tough 72-46 loss to Kettle Moraine in the conference opener last night. And then you have practice at 8 at Whittier. And why is it at Whittier again?
South is having a wrestling tournament today over the field houses.
Over 20 high schools, yeah.
A lot of kids.
Their own version of WrestleMania. So that's great that Whittier is available to you guys. And, hey, we're taking your calls this morning, too, 844-967-2789. And you can also text us at that number, too. So, and I encourage you. I still get a lot of texts on my phone as you hear my phone blowing up already. So, Coach Montez, and you played sports at Waukesha South when you were there, class of 94, is that correct?
Correct.
Sounds great. And what sports did you play when you were in high school?
I just played baseball when I was at South. But
really?
I was in the basketball program as the manager.
Okay.
Back then, I knew I wanted to coach basketball, so I started early.
That's great. Was it your dream to come back to your alma mater and be head coach?
It was a dream to be a head coach. Just to have the opportunity to do it at South makes it even better. Sure.
That's true. And, usually when, and nothing against Coach Richter, your predecessor, but usually, when a coach decides it's time to step down, you usually have the benefit of time. The school does, hire a new coach, and then that new coach has the benefit of a few months at the very least to build the program and to start working on things. And what have you done to kind of, because you're kind of it's fair to say you're kind of at a disadvantage knowing that the announcement came, I think, like in September.
Yeah, we got a late start. And so trying to get bus schedule and everything lined up.
Sure. Talking to Mike more.
And then, not only put a plan together with players and a staff and stuff like that.
Sure. And how much of a resource have your senior captains been for you in terms of building the program up?
They've been really good. They've been great leaders so far. I couldn't ask anything more of them. So I've been very happy and pleased with their efforts so far.
So in addition to, I guess you could say, a late start, you also had one returning regular starter from last year's team. You lost 2 All-State guards. And so really kind of starting behind the 8 ball, if you will. What has been your plan to to kind of move forward, to move the needle, if you will?
It's it's a slow process here. I think the kids are trying to feel me out. I'm trying to figure out what's our best option right now and
Sure.
our best route to be successful this year.
Sure. So, and your Black Shirts are 1-2. Had a very impressive opening win last Friday against Pulaski. Had a tough loss on Tuesday to New Berlin West, where you're actually leading at halftime. And New Berlin West just they opened up a new gear in the second half, and almost like kind of didn't look back. But and then of course Kettle Moraine last night.
Correct. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be a slow process, and we're all trying to learn different roles, and we'll get there.
Sounds great. Yeah. What would you like? Obviously you coached with Coach Richter for many years, and I believe his predecessor. And one thing I noticed right away, it's different, is that you've gone pretty deep into your bench. A lot of guys are getting some time, a lot of younger players too. Whereas like Coach Richter would maybe go 7 at the most, sometimes 8.
Yeah. I think we have enough guys that can compete, and if it's not their night,
Sure,
we have options.
Sure.
So I don't know if it's going to be like that the whole year,
right?
But as of right now, that's how we're going.
Sure. And I know with our seniors, Bryten and Evan here, this is your first. It's not your first rodeo with Coach Montez, because you've worked with him before when he was an assistant coach. How do you feel the adjustment's been? First, you, Bryten, get right up there on the mic, my man.
I think probably offensive minded. We're just so much better, and like he knows his stuff. So stats, strategic wise, we all rely on him, and that's I think a big part of how we're playing this season.
Sounds good. How about you, Evan?
I don't feel like it's a huge adjustment just because we've been with Coach Montez for all 4 years. We've known him. It's just like it was a good thing that he was our head coach, just because I feel like everybody can rely on him and just trust him already without having to get a new offense set in. We have some new stuff, but everybody's kind of adjusting really well.
Sounds good, yeah. And also, again, it's your first role as a head coach, but not your first rodeo with the South basketball program. And it's important to mention that I guess it's 2 seasons ago, South won the Classic 8 after losing 60 straight conference games in previous seasons, and we're 1 game away from going to state. And in that year, Coach Montez was named Classic 8 Assistant Coach of the Year, which it's a big honor, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it just wasn't about me. We had some great kids, some really good talent, and we figured it out and put it all together. I was just happy to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that one aspect of the program's big turnaround that got a lot of attention in the news was that the team was using a sports psychologist. Do you still have that in your arsenal of tools?
Well, we used Dr. Matt those years. Unfortunately, now Dr. Matt has moved to, I believe, Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I have been looking for someone, a replacement to help us.
So you hear that, Greg? If you know any good sports psychologists, Waukesha South has an opening.
I could talk to them if they want. What's up?
Yeah.
Shoot the ball. I got you.
Greg would be great.
I'd be amazing.
He would. So Greg's a CMH grad, but I think has some affinity for South as well. Being a South, I
love all of the Waukesha kids. They're all wonderful.
Yep.
I'm too old to know any of them now, and I sleep a lot, so I wish them good luck.
Love it. I love it. So, Coach Montez, is there a college basketball coach that you would consider a role model or someone you look up to or maybe pattern yourself after?
I don't think that there's like one coach that I want to pattern myself after. I do admire like some aspects of each coach, and you try to take a little bit from them and implement it in your program. So
Sure. And what about, is there a brand you'd like to establish that's like the Montez brand or signature on the South program?
I I don't think so. I want us to be really good at fundamentals. I want us to play. I want us to compete every day, just not during games. I want us to compete at practice, and just keep working hard.
Sure. I like that. I like that. What about in terms of your experience at high school? Like what I said, I know you had you got to work with Coach Richter for many years. Were there other coaches that you had the pleasure of working with that you learned some things from?
Yeah. Well, I started coaching at Waukesha West with Dave Schultz, and then Todd Pizzora after Dave, and then when it came to South, it was Billy Swartz and then Bo Richter.
Sure.
But I've been coached by Bill Swartz Sr., Mark Christensen.
Sure.
So I've had some Hall of Fame coaches that I've coached under and worked for. So
That's great. And I'm glad you mentioned Billy Schwartz because on December 16th, Billy Schwartz and his younger brother Julian are my guests. And I believe is December 19th is Julian Schwartz night? Is that the date we set aside?
I think it is. I think it's a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
We host West. So
Neat. So and Billy's been on the show before. He's the varsity soccer coach and done a terrific job there. And Julian, I believe it was class of 99, is considered perhaps the greatest basketball player in South history, or one of them for sure, and was on that Wisconsin Final Four team, finished his career at Cornell, and then has had a really promising collegiate coaching career, having been at Georgia Tech. But more on that when we come back from these important messages. Going to talk to our captains, Bryten and Evan, a little bit more, as well as learn more about first-year head coach Lee Montez. And don't forget, Mayor Shawn Reilly is my guest in the next segment here. So lots to unpack here on this beautiful morning in the Shaw as the holiday season begins. Do not go away.
Down Georgia Street Arcade, where the poor children play, gathering up charity to help them make their day. For me, I was once their age, once I was young, but I know I had my family to fall back on. Give it up, share it out.
Hey, we're back. Listening to Waukesha. I'm your host, Don Browne, and you're listening to If I Should Fall From Grace with God by the Pogues, one of Evan's favorite songs when he was a little boy. Evan Staudt, by the way, senior captain, is also my son, full disclosure. And Evan used to call that song Go Boys, because that's mentioned in the chorus line, so we still refer to that. But you'll be hearing a lot of Pogues on my show this morning, maybe throughout the holiday season after it was announced on Thursday that Shane McGowan, the front man and musical genius of the Pogues, had passed away, and still dealing with it. It's very much like a death in the family, and his music had a huge impact on me and a lot of other Irish Americans and just lovers of music, especially combining traditional Irish music with modern rock and even new wave and kind of punk rock that Shane McGowan was part of. So very much alive in my heart here. But I'm here with, again, I mentioned the captains of the basketball team, Evan Staudt and Bryten Staab. Charlie Morose could not be with us, and of course head coach Lee Montez. And wanted to talk to the captains here for a little bit. What's the role you guys have in helping with running the practices, or again being senior leaders? What do you perceive your roles to be? Talking to the mic, gentlemen.
It's just kind of an easier role just because we've known these guys for so long, like just playing with Bryten and Charlie for so long since 7th grade, and just knowing like guys like Giovanni, Pereira, and Zaya Sewalt, just knowing those guys, it's kind of easy to run around practice because it's really competitive, but it's really nice to know that like at the end of the day we're all family, and then so it's really good to just get after it in practice. Just we get on everybody, but everybody knows it's just all love from everybody. So just making sure practices stay competitive, stay on task, and everything like that.
Sounds good. How about you, Bryten? What do you perceive your role to be as a senior captain?
I think my role is just to keep everybody's heads up, try and keep like a good attitude during practice, during games. When something doesn't go right, I'm there to pick someone up, help, give advice, and that's all.
Sounds good. And what was I going to say? Yeah, and again, we're bummed that we're missing Charlie, and we know Evan's committing to UW Eau Claire for football, and Bryten is committed, or at least they both have signed letters of intent, and Bryten has signed his with Carroll University for baseball. And Evan's a 3-sport athlete. Bryten's a 2-sport athlete. How does do you view your work in each sport as good cross training?
Yeah, I feel like every sport just kind of goes into each other. Basketball is for sure like a huge conditioning point. I feel like I have to that's a sport that I know going into it that I'm gonna probably be the most sore in my legs, everything like that. Everything just goes into each other because everything that you do just athletically has to go into every sport, I feel like.
Sounds good. How about you, Bryten?
Being a pitcher and with all the basketball conditioning, that's really going to help come spring season. And it just helps with my legs, create my legs stronger for when I do have to pitch. And it's like legs day for 4 months straight.
Neat. So now back to Coach Montez. One of the highlights of last night's game was a gigantic presence of young fans, very small fans in black shirt uniforms, and it was youth night, and it was really neat to see the varsity team welcoming the different youth teams out before the game, and then there was a great halftime performance. It was like a rock concert cheering on the young kids, and that's got to make you feel pretty encouraged knowing, and I know Coach Richter has now devoted his efforts towards developing the youth program. How's that make you feel knowing that you got a lot of talent to look forward to reviewing in the future, to developing, I should say?
It's exciting. Our youth program is our future going forward. So we want to donate and put as much time as we can into our youth, and hopefully they can develop and, become great black shirts in the future.
Sure. Now there's I saw there was the halftime game, I believe, was second grade against third grade. And,
correct.
Yeah. And how do you develop those guys when a lot of them, I think, can't even get the ball over the basket with the kind of the strength they have at that age?
Right.
Or maybe they can, but
they got to get in close. And, but yeah, it's more of, teaching jump stops there and passing and, correct form, once they get old enough and they get taller and they get stronger, they'll be able to get the ball up over the rim.
Sure. Are you teaching them the mic and drills?
I assume we will get there at some point. So I think at second and third grade, it's probably trying to keep their attention.
Sure. That was
more than anything.
That was my one grievance about the Kettle Moraine team is they did a great job of scoring, but you had guys scoring from the left side using the right hand, like on layups and whatnot. And I'm like, they're not doing their mic and drills over there.
I can't speak for Coach Rickert and what they do.
And he's a
over
first-year
there.
coach too, so that had to be interesting, right?
He's a first-year head coach at KM. He's coached before at I think St. John's Military Academy.
Okay, sure.
Is where he started. So
sounds great. Well, in the 3 minutes we have before the next break, I want to switch gears towards the Carroll Minute. And we're staying on basketball, though. The Pioneer women's basketball team has had a great week. They won their second game in a row on Wednesday night, beating rivals North Central 92-62. That was their conference opener at Van Male Fieldhouse. Sophomore Natalie Grisius led all Pios with 18 points, followed by 15 points from sophomore Emily Wisner and 14 points from junior Olivia Rangel. Pios moved to 5-2, and we broadcasted last Saturday's victory at Van Male over Ripon College 69-54 when Rangel scored 28 points and Grisius netted 13. And both the men's and women's teams play a doubleheader today at CCIW opponent Illinois Wesleyan. And then we'll be broadcasting next week's game, a doubleheader, when the Pio men's and women's teams play at 2 and 4:15 on the 9th. So And then also on the 9th, my guess is Gina Nordrum, a family and consumer ed teacher at Waukesha South, who heads the SALT program. What's SALT? It's not Strategic Arms and Limitations Treaty, like for any of us Cold War people that remember. It's student athlete leadership training. And she'll also be bringing a couple students as Coach Montez here. So be sure to tune into that. So in the minute we have before the next break, too, what's your practice ritual like on Saturdays?
Well, we're just trying to get better every day. So Coach Hurtado and I kind of came up with a plan for today, and we're going to go out and work hard today and
sounds good.
Try to get better.
A lot of running?
No, I'm not a firm believer in punishment. We didn't play well last night at times, but
sure.
Running's not going to solve anything.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't mean in terms of punishment, but just conditioning. That there's probably a decent amount of it in your routine, I'd imagine.
I think we work hard enough in drills. We'll condition maybe a couple times a week, but
sounds good. Good. After these important messages, more with Coach Montez and captains Bryten, Staab, Evan, Staudt before they head over to their 8 o'clock practice as This Week in Waukesha continues. Do not go away. Hey, we're back. This week in Waukesha, and that's Bottle of Smoke by the Pogues, one of my favorite songs. Well, they're all like my favorite songs, but again, remembering Shane McGowan this sad week. Hey, also, too, December 2nd is actually, it's also the 4th anniversary of, we had some school shooting threats at South and at North that were thwarted, thank God. And it's amazing it's become a memory like a long time ago, especially after what we had gone through with the Christmas parade. But there are other, we were much more fortunate than other schools like Sandy Hook. I know that anniversary is coming up. And then Centennial in Denver, where my niece was a sophomore when all that went down. We keep those families, those children, those survivors in our heart. Again, at Sandy Hook, we know there were several young children that were killed. And then also at Centennial, I know there was at least one. And and thank God for our student resource officer program. It's always great when you see Officer Josh there at the basketball games. And I think he had a couple assistants with him, too. And so for a big crowd like that, it certainly is comforting. And knowing the relationships these officers have with the young people, with the students, is incredible.
It is great. And I know Officer Josh is getting close to his tenure. He's only got a couple more weeks at South, and then we will have a new SRO. So,
oh, wow. I didn't know that. So we'll have to get him on the show. But Coach Montez, in this age of youth sports overkill, I mean, it's a $17 billion industry now. And a lot of rec programs have been gone by the wayside, where a lot of families could afford to play, have gone by the wayside of these really expensive club sports. And you have a lot of dad coaches. And as a new coach, how do you rise above the politics and the pressures that come from the parent base?
I'm still trying to learn that. I've only had the job here for, less than 2 months. So my focus has been, trying to get the varsity ready, the high school program ready.
Sure.
So I haven't had much to do with that yet.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that, we give each kid an equal opportunity, and,
Sure.
they want to be at South, and, make our youth program a memorable experience. So they they want to be at South and continue
That's great.
at South.
There's a famous saying from legendary college football coach Duffy Doherty from my alma mater, Michigan State. The alumni are with you, win or tie. And it sounded like today you could say the parents are with you, win or tie, and as long as my kid gets the most playing time. Do you have a process for how you deal with some of those parental pressures?
We talked a little bit about that in our parent meeting, and it's not going to be easy. And I've tried to teach my kids at home that life isn't fair. You can be really, really good, but there might be someone ahead of you. And
sure, it's always going to be someone better than you.
Correct, and that's how that's how life's going to go. And I think the sooner kids learn that,
sure,
the better off they're going to be in life.
Sure. How do you steer the focus towards building a team concept? Away from that again, that maybe that parental pressure, maybe some of these young athletes with stars in their eyes.
I've leaned on the captains here. Like you said, Charlie's not here, but Evan and Bryten, and I've kind of I told them when we met that this is their team, and I'm just a part of it. I'll kind of push them and steer them in the right direction, but this is their team, and you guys got to be a part of dealing with the ups and downs of a season, and being leaders and captains. That's part of your role.
And keeping that even emotional temperament then.
Correct.
That's good. As well as it's got to be fun too.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm tired. I don't get a lot of sleep, but this is what I always wanted to do, is be a head coach. So, here you go. This is what it takes. So
sure. Absolutely. What do you like to do when you're not coaching and thinking basketball?
My family's a big baseball family. I grew up playing baseball. My brother's the head coach at Waukesha West.
That's right. We're talking about that. You guys still talk to each other though, right?
We do. We do. But my kids play baseball. They play travel ball. So in the summer, we're traveling a lot. And, as a family, we enjoy going to different major league ballparks. We try to catch the Brewers when we're out of town and, at a different park. But
oh, neat.
But yeah, sometimes we'll just go to a game just because we're in town. So
sure, that's great. What major league parks have you been to already?
So my wife and I have been to San Francisco. The boys have not. But as a family, we've been to Coors Field in Denver. We've been to Target Field in Minnesota. We've been
sorry about that.
Both Chicago, White Sox, and Wrigley. Obviously, American Family Field, Cleveland, Cincinnati, neat. Pittsburgh, Boston.
Oh. Sorry for the hiccup. Mayor Shawn Reilly just entered the building, and so I'm glad that he gets to meet Coach Montez and our future leaders here, Bryten and Evan. Mayor Reilly will be our guest in the second segment. I can call him Shawn because we're friends, and I was on the council, and we've called each other worse things than that. But
I've met Mayor Reilly before. After I think it was 2 years ago,
you got the proclamation.
We got the proclamation, so we all got to meet him, and
there was a very proactive alderman for the first district that made that happen. So I'm really glad that.
We'll have to meet that guy someday.
That's it. Yeah. So, but it's neat because the mock trial team has gotten 2 proclamations. So, and I think some other great clubs, and I know I'm working on one for the Fusion volleyball team. It's had an amazing year. So, but really glad to have Mayor Reilly on deck. So we might be able to get him on sooner since you guys have a practice to get to. But we've got about 5 minutes, Greg, before the next break?
Let's see here. Let's see if we get. Oh, we got about 7 minutes.
Oh, we got plenty of time. Great. All right.
I know how to tell time. I can do it. I read things.
Hey, we're taking your calls here, 844-967-2789, or you can text the messages in for Coach Montez. And, I think there's a lot of people that might still be sleeping in because, we actually went to a Christmas party after the game. One of our softball families has a Christmas party in honor of they have a sister that had passed away from cancer as a younger child, and on her birthday every year they do like a gift wrapping kind of party. It's really neat, and so it's really fun to be a part of that. And so, but I didn't stay out too late. I had the family has Swedish roots, and they make this wonderful glögg, great holiday punch for you grown-ups. That is, so you guys will have to wait a couple years, Evan and Bryten. So, but yeah, so Tuesday you have East Troy, a non-conference opponent. And then Friday you'll be at North, crosstown rivals, where I think you guys have won like maybe 8 straight games against North. So any plans of attack or expectations or scouting or?
I haven't. I've put some film up on our huddle account. I haven't really gotten too far to North yet, but. Yeah, no pressure. If I can't remember how many we have in a row, but we're just hoping and looking to add one more to it. So
sure, sounds good. And then I forget, how many players do you have in the varsity lineup right now?
We have full set. We have 15 guys right now. So
that's a nice size.
It is. With injuries and other things that you can't see.
Sure.
It's always nice to have more at the beginning. And
yeah. Yep. We did have Morgan Schwartz was injured in the New Berlin West game. Talked to his dad, Billy, and, fortunately it's not a fracture, but there will be a process for his recovery. And
yeah, we're hoping, I was at the hospital with Morgan and Billy, and we saw the x-ray. Doctor came in and said it was negative, and so we're just hoping it's a sprain, and he'll be back hopefully, Christmas time. So
sounds great. And what I know you get a lot of support from Caitlin Weber and the Children's Wisconsin team that supports South. And what are some measures that you do to do your best to avoid injuries as part of your routine?
Yeah, I think I kind of let Caitlin, kind of be the eyes and ears. She hears the kids coming in, saying, this is hurting. And, I always value her opinion when it comes to the kids. So,
okay. Sounds good. Now going back to Evan and Bryten here, because like I said, you guys are I know you, Coach Montez being a huge baseball fan, and you guys both playing baseball. What do you do to stay focused on basketball?
Like year round or just during the season?
Just right now during the season.
During the season, it's kind of easy. You're there after school every single day, just kind of focused on basketball. I'd say one thing is just kind of the sticking with your teammates the entire time. Like those are your teammates right now. I feel like I always just get really close to my teammates during the season and everything like that. We're always close outside like the season, but definitely during the season, you got to get close with your teammates. You got to stay in and stay focused. So it's kind of a good way just with people.
Sounds good. And how about you, Bryten? Talking to the mic now, real close. Pretend like you're talking to your catcher during a timeout here. He's coming to the mound. You're having a pretty...
Obviously, just being close with teammates, watching film a lot. That's always a key way I stay on basketball. And then obviously just putting in work outside of practice, like on my days off, just getting better at the sport in the season.
Sounds great. So, and I played on some teams, and things can get chippy in practice sometimes, even during games. Like, how do you guys best communicate? Say you have a grievance against coach or a grievance against another teammate. How do you guys, best handle that?
Between teammates, it's pretty easy. We just all know, leave it on the court. Something happens, just leave it there. I'd say we have that sometimes just because of how competitive practices are. So you're always going to have that. You want that just because it's more competitive. You want people to want it. So I feel like it's really good. Stuff with coaches, you know how to handle that. You just talk to the coach yourself. Coach Montez is really good at just being straight up with you right when you go to him. So that's one of the best parts about Coach Montez and having him here. So I feel like it's pretty easy that way.
Sounds great. So we have 2 minutes, and then we got to let you guys get to practice. What is it you want Waukesha to know about the South team in the Lee Montez era that we haven't talked about yet?
I think it's more of about the kids and the program. I want, like the future Black Shirts to know that, we're going to work hard, and we're looking forward to the day you can put on the South jersey and just, let's have a great time and build memories as we go.
Sounds great. How about you guys? Anything real quick for Shaw Nation to know about the Black Shirt Hoops team?
This year, we are a younger team, and with us seniors, captains, Evan, Charlie, me, we are the stepping stones to the youth, and we want to make it known that when they're up at this level, they can do what we can do.
So you're raising the bar. That's great. So, well, terrific. So, when we come back after these important messages, Mayor Shawn N, who's come here early, will be stepping in, taking over for Coach Lee Montez and for Bryten Staab and Evan Staudt. I'm really glad you three could join us. Have a great practice this morning. Best of luck with the rest of the season, and you're always welcome back here on This Week in Waukesha. And don't forget, my guest next week is Gina Nordrum and the Student Athlete Leadership Training Program. So more to come as Mayor Shawn Reilly joins us next here on This Week in Waukesha. Do not go away. I saw you was down at the Greeks. There was whiskey on Sunday and tears on our cheeks. Hey, we're back This Week in Waukesha. I'm your host, Don Browne, and that's right, you're going to hear a lot of Pogues this show and then shows throughout the holidays here as we remember fondly Shane McGowan, one of my favorite musicians, and possibly a favorite musician of my next guest. Our first Irish Catholic mayor in Waukesha history, is that correct, or am I did I miss the boat on that?
I have no idea.
I think it is. So, but well, Mayor Shawn Reilly, welcome. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good morning.
And are you a Shane McGowan and Pogues fan? I think you are.
Yeah, I am. I wore my Guinness shirt. I saw him in 1999 in the Chicago Speedway at the Guinness Fla.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Was it the racetrack or the?
I think it was. Well, no, it was a park.
Oh, race. That's right. The year before it was at the old racetrack.
98. It was 98 and 99. I'm not sure which one I went to.
Yeah.
I went to one of them. Shane played at both.
And was Sinead O'Connor there too? It was Sinead O'Connor, John Lee Hooker, Tracy Chapman, Wilco with Billy Bragg.
I think that's 98.
That's the one I was at.
Okay, I was one. I believe I was the year after.
The year after at the racetrack,
like Shane McGowan,
and the Popes.
Yeah. Well, like him, my memory of it may be a little fuzzy.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but Mayor, we're glad you're here early, filling in so Coach Montez and the boys could make the practice on time, and I'm glad you got to meet. Now, I'm also glad that he goes, oh yeah, I met Mayor Reilly at the proclamation that we put together when I was on the council, and that was for the Classic 8 championship that the basketball team had won a couple years ago. Same year, Coach Montez was named Assistant Coach of the Year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
yep.
But we got a big event tomorrow, the 60th annual Waukesha Christmas Parade. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I got my I Know Santa hat.
I saw that. Yeah.
So
we're not streaming, so we don't have the video, but I think we got it for the picture anyway that we took with Coach Montez.
Okay. Yeah.
So
and I was wearing it last night at the tree lighting too.
That's what I want to add. How was it? I missed the tree lighting because I was covering the basketball game, but how did that go?
It was nice. I mean, I was very worried about the weather to begin with, but it turned out okay.
It really turned out nice. Yeah.
I was afraid of solid rain. Instead, it was wet snow.
I was working during the afternoon, or working at home, and I was up pretty early. In the end, the afternoon started raining. Like, oh God, this is gonna be terrible. I hope it's not like this for the parade. And then, as I was driving to go get my gear for the basketball game, like the snow was coming. It was beautiful. It's like that's the kind of snowfall you want
Yeah, we had the lights work so much better when there's snow behind them too.
Right.
So we had a little bit of snow. The crowd was not as big as last year, but a good sized crowd.
good.
We did the caroling down Main Street and through Fremont Alley, and then lit the lights on the riverfront. If you haven't gone by Friedman Alley yet, take a drive by there at night. It looks really cool.
I saw the signage during the day, and that looked pretty impressive. So I'll have to get there at night.
It's. I was surprised when I saw it. I was like,
Sure.
I wasn't. They had, it had been described to me, and I really didn't think. It's like,
Sure.
that'll be nice. I was impressed.
Sure. Yeah, and what was also impressive too was you were essentially the master of ceremonies when we had the anniversary, the second anniversary of the parade attack and the dedication of the new memorial, which looks fantastic there. And you said something that was really profound to me, that you were really glad for this turnout because it meant so much for the families of the victims as well as a lot of the survivors. That it is very much a healing process that continues to the present day.
Yeah, it's the community experienced at death as almost the way where if you had a parent pass away or something like that. I come from a really big family. All of us reacted differently.
Sure.
Some internalized their grief. Some were out with it. But it also is something that it's not like it ends. It kind of keeps on going.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're always sad. It means that it can kind of hit you from a different direction.
Sure.
And years later, as a community, we were all traumatized, and so the healing for that takes time.
Sure.
And people are going to do it differently, and
right. And it meant a lot that Governor Evers came to speak, and then Senator Tammy Baldwin, I believe our congressman, was there as well.
Yep, Congressman Fitzgerald was there also. So, we didn't want to open it up to a bunch of speakers because you want to have these things be timely.
Yes.
You don't want them to last an hour. Half an hour.
And not necessarily, highlight reels for the legislators or the political leaders, but some, for people that you want this to be still very kind of a serious, sober, special moment.
Correct. And when the governor is there, as he's as the representative of the state of Wisconsin, it was an easy choice for me to say.
Sure.
The governor gets to speak.
Yes.
And then we'll have the people on the ground. Our police chief, fire chief, chaplain.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, but the two ladies who spoke were that was beautiful.
Sherry Sparks, and I forget the daughter's name.
Tamara.
Jane Kulik's daughter. Yeah. And so, that was very well spoken, and to share that pain too, that's still very real for them.
Yeah, and they did such a great job.
They really did. And I was also impressed. Chief Thompson was on my show, I believe, the week before, and he did a great job. And then Fire Chief Steve Howard, I really liked what he had to say, because he highlighted that it's still very difficult for a lot of people to come to downtown that witnessed all of that.
Yeah, he said he struggled over his speech, which we all do to do that.
Sure, absolutely. So, but it's not, in our planning, because we're doing the pre-parade broadcast at 3:00 tomorrow, that in kind of the team meetings, like, let's not, emphasize the tragedy so much. But at the same time, it's become a part of us. And then the idea of the parade is it's a sign of our resilience and an expression of the holiday spirit. And we continue to move forward while also keeping victims and survivors in our hearts.
Who's a good example of that is the Dancing Grannies.
Yes.
They kept on dancing, and they were so impacted by the parade tragedy.
Yes. Mayor, I forgot. I have a special producer this morning. My regular producer's out sick, but Greg Bach is a fellow CMH alumnus.
Oh, nice.
So Mayor
What
Shawn
year?
Reilly, Greg.
96.
Okay, I was a little before you.
Sure.
79.
79. Yep.
I looked it up, actually. You got there 1 year after Coach Bill Young got there, and he's still there. That is ridiculous.
I was in freshman football for a short period of time. They didn't cut me, but I had tendonitis in both ankles, and Coach Young he's his history and his winning record is unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was a really tough coach in the beginning years, but I still respect him for it.
Good man. Good man.
When we come back from the break, I've got a great story about Coach Young that the two of you will appreciate, as well as more about the big parade tomorrow and other holiday happenings with Mayor Shawn Reilly when This Week in Waukesha continues. Do not go away.
Next time I see you, we're down at the Grace. There'll be whiskey and Sunday and tears in our cheeks. We're stupid to laugh and it's useless to bob, but Rusty's in Cannon and already